be announcing tonight's ball game. They've really packed them in tonight. It's the big one.
Oh, this is great. This is what basketball, high school basketball, is all about, Louis. You know, it's great rivalry across the river, and just to see all these people out here to support their teams is just fantastic. And you know, it should be just an excellent ball game, regardless of what's happened earlier in the season when these two clubs get together. Let it all hang out.
It's anything goes. I'm looking for a real close game tonight, I think.
Well, again, as I said, I don't think it matters what the record is. It'll be a barn burner right to the end. And to illustrate that, in tonight's first game in the JV contest, Whitehall won the JV league title by beating Montague in the final minute, 46-44. Excellent ball game.
Came right down to the last shot there.
Well, I don't think you could find a seat any place in here. I know a lot of people been trying to get in, Louis, and you know, I don't think we've turned anybody away, but boy, I'll tell you, they're just packing them in side by side.
Well, last time Montague and Whitehall got together, they ended up turning 1,500 people away in a gym that's bigger than this one. So
right,
they'll probably turn people away before the night is through.
Well, Whitehall's found a little bit of hard time since last time they met, but that doesn't take anything away from them as a real good team that they are. I think maybe when we beat them over at their place, that took a little starch out of them, and they got beat by some of the other ball clubs that kept on coming on and getting better in the course of the season. But, you know, I think Whitehall tonight will come out with a lot of intensity, come out to prove that they're a ball team that is here. They'll also come out with something to prove as we enter tournament season next week, and where they could meet for a third time, possibly on Thursday night. Let me just speak to that matter. In the upcoming tournament at Hart in the district round, on Monday night at 7:30, Shelby will be playing Hesperia. That winner will move on to Wednesday, and they will play Mason County Central. And the winner of that game will move into the finals on Saturday night. That's a 7:30 game. The other bracket sees Whitehall playing Hart on Tuesday night at 7:30. And then Montague getting the winner of that game on Thursday, also at 7:30. And the winner of that game going on into the finals. I was just informed by Athletic Director Charles Hulse that tickets for Thursday night's game between Montague and the winner of the Hart-Whitehall game will go on sale Monday morning at 8 a.m. in the high school office. And those tickets can only be used for Thursday night's game. All other tickets have to be bought at the door. And with that, Louis, it looks like we're about ready to get going here as the clock runs down. Both teams get off the court, and I think we'll probably be playing the national anthem first, and then the introduction of players.
And they brought thrills, excitement, joy, and pride to their parents, their school, and their community. We appreciate their efforts and would ask that you join in recognizing these young men. Number 50, Chris Morrissey.
And right now they're recognizing some of the seniors for the Wildcats. Number 50, Chris Morrissey, his last home game here at Montague. Number 40 is Kurt Babcock. Number 32, Scott Thumser, the third senior. Also a senior from Montague, number 24, Brad Van Bergen. Rich Erdman, number 22 for Montague. Dave Osborne, number 30. And number 52, Randy Lindquist. And these seniors will be sorely missed next year.
Well, that's a great group of young men right there, and I'm truly impressed with them, and we certainly are going to miss them. Now our national anthem. Well, Louie, it's already a very noisy one, and I can just imagine what's going to happen when the first basket's scored. The top's going to come off this place.
Yeah, it really will. Well, I think we're about ready for our starting lineups here. Starting for the Whitehall Vikings, Andy Green, number 34. Also starting for Whitehall, number 22 at 6'2", Scott Corliss. Number 44, Mike Kirshen, standing at 6'3", junior. Mitch Foster, number 32 at 6'2". And Chip Williams, number 10, the small guy, 5'4".
Well, Whitehall's got a lot of nice ball players there, but the guy to watch, the guy to get him going is Scott Corliss. He's, I think he's leading the conference. No, I stand to be corrected. He's second in the conference in scoring, and he makes things happen for the Vikings.
And we're waiting for Montague here. Starting for the Cats, number 30, Dave Osborne. Number 34, Jimmy Grieve. Also starting for the Cats, Randy Lindquist at number 52. Number 12, Paul Schloff. And rounding out our starting five, number 22, Rich Erdman.
Well, Louie, what more could you ask for on a Friday night? You know, to be in here and watch some real good high school basketball. And as I said, you know, earlier, this is what it's all about. It's fantastic. A bunch of young men from both schools, no recruiting. They come in, you put them together, and you get some pretty decent basketball teams, and they go against each other, and it's fantastic.
What a way to finish up the regular season.
Oh, it's just great. Well, we're about ready to go. Official steps in now, toss that ball up, and we're underway.
And Montague's going to start with it.
And Whitehall goes into looks like a 3-2 zone.
One of the key factors to this game is going to be who gets the momentum first. And
well, that's a pretty good momentum getter right there. And the Wildcats right back into that press.
Chip Williams travels for the Vikes. Montague's going to take over. You don't want to make mistakes this early in the ballgame.
No, and that's Kim Griffin's biggest fear, that his troops are going to get in trouble right off the bat.
Randy Lindquist misses his shot. Osborne gets the rebound, puts it back up, scores. An early lead for Montague, 4-0 here in the first quarter. Chip Williams for Whitehall with the ball. Scott Corliss with the ball, back to Williams. Mitch Foster. Back to Williams. Scott Corliss, turnaround jumper, doesn't drop. And off the hands of Whitehall, Montague's got the ball.
Well, what I liked about Montague so far, and Whitehall's done real well when they've got it down at one time. They've just been patient, just worked for that ball. Good shot.
Randy Lindquist for the Cats. Early lead for Montague, 6-0, and I can see Coach Griffith calling a timeout here if things don't change.
Nice shot by Andy Green there to get the Vikings on the scoreboard.
Osborne doesn't drop. Mike Kirshen for the Vikes.
Well, the Wildcats didn't get back there, and they paid for it as Mike Kirshen got down the court real quick, and Chip Williams got him the ball. Nice read by Williams. Lots of good hustle by
Paul Schlopp from 3-point range. It drops. Scott Corliss shoots. Doesn't go. Randy Lindquist gets the ball.
Wildcats right now enjoying a 9-4 lead, and got the ball back. Try to add to that.
Paul Schlopp.
Paul Schlopp's on fire.
He is. Mitch Foster turnaround. It doesn't go. And Schlopp with the rebound. Brings it down himself over to Lindquist. Lindquist across court to Erdman. Back inside to Schlopp. Schlopp goes up, loses control. And the foul is finally called on number 22, Scott Corliss, for the Vikings.
Well, I think the Cats got a little sloppy there. Maybe made a few more passes than they really had to. I think if Randy would have just come down with that ball and gone right back up with for the jump shot, he could have had a little short J for 2. And here we come with that bench. 3 starters out. In fact, let's make that 4 starters out. Randy Lindquist, the only one that stays in. With the Wildcats leading 12-4 with just over 4 minutes to go in the quarter.
Scott Thumser wide open, puts it up a little short. Babcock goes up. He's fouled by is that Weaver?
Right, that was Scott Weaver. A nice shot by Scott, a little bit short, but Kurt Babcock got excellent position, grabbed that ball and did the right thing, went right back up with it and drew the foul. He's got 2 now.
Babcock makes his first. And Kurt Babcock's second is also good. Montague up on top, 14-4, 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Mitch Foster up top. Back to Chip Williams. He's going to shoot from 3-point range. It's a little off. There's a foul underneath the basket.
I think they got Brad Van Bergen on the push underneath on the rebound. What I've noticed is, at this point at least, Whitehall is just a little bit unsure of themselves bringing that ball up against that press. And not real steady passes, not really sure when to dribble and when not to, and that's caused them a lot of problems. Nice block by Randy Lindquist. He just went up. Scott Weaver thought he could put it over top, and Randy was right there to help out and put it in.
Babcock puts it up. No good. Randy Lindquist with the rebound, puts it back up. Nice shot.
Well, Randy did that so well. He was on the block on the right-hand side, and he just went over in the middle, grabbed that ball, went back up with it, and got that too. And that pushes the Cats' lead to 12 now, early on. Mike Kirshen, nice touch on that ball.
There's Randy again.
Well, nice feed by Kurt Babcock. Excellent. He read that real well, got him the ball inside. And that's when things happen. If the guys break and they don't get the ball, they stop doing that. And he just saw him, got him the ball right now. And we got the ball out of bounds. We got somebody else offensive foul. Or excuse me, a defensive foul.
Rich Erdman for the Cats. Pass to Thumser. Thumser drives. He scores. I don't know how he got that up through those guys.
I don't know. That was a nice shot. He just kind of got through him and then hung there and put it up. And it went down. Great shot.
Chip Williams for the Vikings. Mitch Foster, turnaround jumper, it drops.
Well, Scott Corliss didn't make the basket, but he made that happen. He set a nice screen inside, and Mitch Foster came off of it, got the ball, put it up and in for the 2.
Erdman inside to Jim Grieve. He's fouled as he goes up.
And that's what you got to do when you get that ball inside, Louis. Those guys are taking it right to the hole right now, and they're making the Vikings foul. And that's why we're either getting the free throw or we're taking it back out of bounds and getting a second opportunity.
Jim Grieve at the line, shooting 2 for the Cats. His first is up. It's good.
Well, Jim's shooting 69% on the year from the free throw line, so he's a pretty sure bet to put those things in, as he does both those.
There's that Montague press again. This time they get the foul out of it against them.
Yeah, Richard got a little bit too much body on him. Good to see Richard Erdman and Chip Williams really going at it, and Chip just patted him on the back. Richard did the same thing.
Scott Weaver puts it up, a little short. Osborne comes down with the ball.
There was a major league rebound right there.
Dave Osborne, oh, nice shot.
Oh, we didn't get that one, almost so.
Scott Corliss open to the basket, he scores. Montague has a 12-point lead, about a minute left in the first quarter, 22-10.
Well, Tom Cheesy got him the ball on that. That was a nice look up the court, and Corliss took it to the hole. That's almost an automatic. I think Paul set just a little bit too long there. Thought about it. He just got to put it up and in.
Schloss shoots, a little short this time. Weaver with the rebound for the Vikes. Cross court, a bad pass there. Trying to counter Montague's fast quickness there, I think, and a couple mistakes now.
Yeah, I got a little sloppy, just trying to rush things, trying to get a little too fancy maybe. Settle down and play their game.
Scott Corliss drives and shoots, he scores.
And that's the thing that Scott Corliss does so well. He'll get that ball and take it to the hole. You got to kind of deny him the ball.
Jim Grieve doesn't drop. Scott Corliss gets the rebound. And that's the end of the first quarter. Montague with a demanding 10-point lead. A commanding.
Well, it was commanding as they just totally dominated. They got a little sloppy towards the end. I think they could have added a few more points on, and they let Whitehall back into it. The Vikings give them credit, though. You know, they just keep plugging away. They're not going to get flustered. They're going to keep battling, and they're down just by 10 at this point. And
that's
as I said,
bottom line. Montague up 22-12.
Well, one of the things, Louis, as we're doing this game, you can see why the Wildcats are on top of the league in field goal percentage. Randy Lindquist leads the league. Jim Grieve is second, and we have 2 other players, Dave Osborne and Paul Schlaff, in the top 10. In free throw percentage, we also have 3 players, being David Osborne at 4th, Jim Grieve at 7th, and Brad Van Bergen at 9th. And points in the league, this is kind of the interesting thing. This is what everybody looks at. We only have 1 player there, but if you look at the other stats, we have 4 players in double figures. And if you take that 5th position and add the players that primarily play that, we have really 5 players in double figures.
And the foul on Dave Osborne there.
Now, David using a little bit of his strength to move Scott Corliss out of there.
Sheasley from 3-point, doesn't drop. Good defense on Montague, not letting him have that shot there. Chip Williams open for the shot. He puts it up, it doesn't go.
Good position by Randy Lindquist. All right, that's what the Wildcats have to do.
Randy puts it up from behind the basket, or from behind the glass, I should say.
Well, that wasn't a pass that was intended for him. It was deflection, and he grabbed it alertly and put it up and got the 2.
So for the time being, Montague doubling Whitehall score 24-12.
And with that, we have Scott Thumser and Brad Van Bergen back into the lineup. And Paul Shannon comes in for the Vikings.
Scott Corliss drives. Nice spot. Nice shot there. Little underhand.
That was a beautiful move as he just kept on going to the basket and went right by his defensive man, put it up and in.
And so a traveling call there on Shannon.
Nice hustle by Paul Shannon, though, as he just stepped with it, or stuck with it, and got the traveling. And the Vikings coming out into a man-to-man offense now, or defense now.
Brad Van Bergen for the Cats. Good defensive hustle by Montague. And Scott Thumser fouled as he drives in. Or no, offensive foul.
Yeah, I was, Scott went to drive. He'd probably been better off just to stop and take that little short jumper. He's got a good jump shot. Just got to have a lot of confidence and put it up at that distance. Well, there was an example of a foul where Paul Schloff didn't quite move quick enough, and Paul Shannon got by him and got a trip situation, 1-and-1 at the line.
And so Paul Shannon puts up his second. That's also good.
And that whittles the Cats' lead to 10, 26-16.
It's almost starting to look like a repeat of the first time they met. Osborne, nice move there, gives it to Grieve. He scores.
There was a case where David Osborne had the shot himself after he faked 2 players out of position and then passed the ball off.
Oh.
Nice pass by Scott Corliss. Again, he probably could have shot the ball there too, but found the open man. Mike Kirshen got the ball and put up and in. Now 28-18.
And a lob pass. Oh, foul there. Paul Shannon with the foul.
That was definitely a foul, but again, Paul Shannon was hustling all the way up the court, and so was Brad Van Bergen, and Brad just got to the ball, and Paul in his anxiety just kind of reached in and got a little bit more of Brad than he wanted.
So now Brad will shoot a 1-and-1. This is his first. Doesn't get a second now. Lindquist with a rebound, puts it back up.
Boy, so far those second chance are the ones that really hurt the Vikings, as the Wildcats have just picked off rebound after rebound and got it back up for second and third chances. And you just can't let that happen, especially on the offensive board. Looks like Richard Erdman got a little bump foul again. That's his second that nature, and that puts Tom Cheesley at the line shooting 1-1.
Cheesley makes his first. He'll shoot a second now. Cheesley also makes his second, and so now Montague has a 10-point lead, 3:41 left in the half.
And the Vikings come out in a full court press.
Jimmy Grieve, nice basket.
Falling away, Jim Grieve puts it up and in, and he made the Vikings pay for their press.
Nice fadeaway jumper there by Grieve. That was nice. Kirshen denied the shot.
Well, Randy came over one of his own men, it looked like, and rejected that one. Mike Kirshen probably should have grabbed that and put it right up right away, but he waited just a second, gave Lindquist a chance to get back in there. And now we got Brad Van Bergen at the other end as he picked up a foul, shooting 1-1.
Brad makes his first. And Brad also makes his second. So Montague quickly back up to 14-point lead. 3 minutes now in the half.
The thing, Louis, that I've noticed, every time you think Montague's out of place, all I do is I just watch, and next thing you see is there's a player there in front of the Vikings. They just can't seem to get away from them.
Their defense, Montague's defense is really hustled all night long. It's really impressive. I think that's probably the key, too.
Well, I'm sure it is.
More so than our quickness on the offense.
Right, definitely. I think Randy Lindquist picked up his second foul there. Shoving foul. Mike Kirshen makes his first.
So Randy takes a seat. That'll probably be the end of his action for the first half. Nice effort by him in the first half.
Yeah, that's smart basketball by Coach Jim Tate. You don't want to get him three going in the second half if you don't have to. And
right.
Enjoying at least 13-point lead right now, 34-21, depending on this free throw. 34-22. Play with that. We've got a line violation at the end. Stepped over that line before he passed it in, and the Vikings get it back.
Scott Corliss over to Sheasley and back to Green. Paul Shannon up top for the Vikes now. Shannon over to Corliss. Back to Shannon. He's going to shoot, and he scores.
Now we got an offensive foul on Paul Schlapp. Put his shoulder down, tried to go through that man, and picks up that foul. It's a ball control, so Whitehall get the ball out of bounds.
Andy Green, he scores. Montague lead cut down to 8. Less than 2 minutes left in the first half now. Osborne open for the shot. He puts it up. Doesn't go. Green gets the rebound. Green puts it up. No good. Osborne with the rebound.
And again, there's a major league rebound. David Osborne took that ball right down.
Osborne from three-point range. It drops.
On that one, the net didn't even move.
It's 2-on-1. And Kirchen draws the foul. Thumser with the foul for the Cats.
Well, that was a good foul by Scott Thumser.
Yeah.
Make him make the two at the line. We
Make 'em
got a
earn
good
it.
bench, and we can afford a foul like that.
Kirchen makes his first. Kirchen drops his second. Montague up on top, 37-28. A minute left in the first half. Osborne wide open for the shot. A little short. And they're going to say it's off the hands of Mike Kirchen. So Montague will retain possession. Schloff up top. He puts it up from three-point range. Way off this time. Van Bergen gets the rebound, puts it back in.
That looked like an assist off the boards.
I think they
hockey
planned
play.
it that way. Andy Green a little off for the Vikings. And off the hands of Scott Corliss. Paul Schloff inside. And definitely a foul there on Shannon.
That was nice ball movement by the Cats. They beat that press, got it back up there. They now got it back to 11-point lead with 39-28 with 22 seconds left, and Paul Schloff at the line to shoot two.
Shannon's going to make him earn these two. Wasn't going to give him the easy basket there.
That's
once
the
again.
same down
Same
at the
thing
other end, right. And there's why you do that.
Schloff makes his second. Montague up by 12. 22 seconds, and Osborne with the steal inside to Schloff.
I think we had 3 seconds in there, yes. David Osborne was standing there waiting for the rebound, and it just never came as we kept on passing the ball around.
15 seconds left now.
Good defense by the Cats again, as the Vikings having all kinds of trouble getting the ball off the court.
We're down to just a couple seconds. Sheasley better put it up in a hurry. And he can't score. Montague ends up with a 12-point lead at the end of the first half, 40-28.
Well, it was really nice to see the Cats regroup. Vikings, as I said, you know, they weren't going to quit. It didn't matter what the score was, and they didn't. They came out, second quarter, got down a little bit, and then just fought their way back and got it within 8. Montague just set their sights ahead and pushed it back up now to 12 at the end of the half, 40-28.
I think we saw some really good team ball on Montague's part in the first half. Of course, I think more importantly than their offensive quickness, they were awfully quick, and I think that had a lot to do with it. But more than that, their hustle on the defense. They were not giving Whitehall anything.
Right. Whitehall played excellent offensive sets down here too, and they ran their patterns and ran them, just couldn't get people open. And you got to give them credit because it gets discouraging after a while, but that's what got them back in the game. They just kept on plugging away and didn't give up, kept the faith, you might say, and it paid off for them. And then Montague's strength again took over on the defensive end where they really they took 2 steals coming in bounds with the passes, and that turned the tide, and we're back up to that 12-point lead. And here we are at halftime. We've got a halftime routine by the varsity cheerleaders, Montague varsity cheerleaders, so I think we'll just kind of watch and we'll listen to that for the next couple of minutes. That's the Montague Wildcat varsity cheerleaders. That was Christy Finland, Tammy Hagner, Kelly Peterson, Dee Cedarquist, Jody Rollenhagen, and Rhonda Hicks. And they're under the direction of coaches Deb Weidenfeller and Cindy Francis. Congratulations to the Montague Wildcat cheerleaders on an excellent pom-pom routine here at halftime.
Some first half stats here. Leading Montague in scoring was Randy Linquist. He had 8. A couple players from Montague with 7. That was Paul Schloff and Dave Osborne. And with 6 points was Brad Van Bergen, Jimmy Grieve. And behind that with 2 points each, Kurt Babcock, Scott Thumser, and Richard Erdman. So a lot of players getting in the act there in the first half.
Right, and for the Vikings, Mike Kirshen had 10, Scott Corliss 6, Mitch Foster pitched in 5, Andy Green and Paul Shannon had 4, and Tom Cheesley had 2 free throws for 2 points. So that adds up to the 28 for the Vikings and the 40 for the Wildcats.
Here's a look at the foul situation. Players with 2 fouls each were Scott Thumser, Rich Erdman, Paul Schloff, and Randy Linquist. And Brad Van Bergen and Dave Osborne each ended up with a foul there in the first half.
All right, and for
nobody really in any trouble yet.
No, and on the other side of the ledger, the only Viking with 2 fouls is Paul Shannon. So again, it doesn't look like fouls probably going to play a big part in this game, although you never know. Things can happen real quick.
Brought to you by Anchor House Restaurant, Chicken Coop Restaurant, Crosswinds Restaurant and Marina, Dahl's Farm Service, Dale's Radiator and AC Service and 24-hour wrecker service, Edgewood Pharmacy, Clark's Save-On, Factory Surplus Sales, Family Hair Care and Tanning Center, Hair Dynamics, Hair Spot, Home TV Tronics Incorporated, Hunt Hardware, Lipka Drugstore, Max Meat Company, Mary's Custom Canvas, Miller's Thrifty Foods, Muskegon Federal Savings and Loan Association, Oceana Realty West Incorporated, Pick and Drug and Gift Shop, Pizza Hut, Shoal Country Travel, Sheer Genius, Shelby State Bank, Tanks A Lot Pet Shop, Lamar Insurance Agency, The Mud Puddle, The Video Store, The Village Traveler, Todd Pharmacy, Balmer Incorporated Realtors, White Lake Ambulance, White Lake Athletic Supply, White Lake Business Supply, White Lake Ford Incorporated, White Lake Lanes, White Lake Pool and Spas.
Well, I got a minute here or so, and we're trying to fight the Montague Pep Band under the direction of Mr. Lee Andrews. I would like to go over some of these league stats again. And just as I say that, the band stops for a minute at least. Richard Erdman leads the conference going in this last game by 18 assists over his nearest competitor. He has 134. Again, for the top spot in the conference. David Osborne is the 9th spot in that department. Erdman is 3rd in the steals, and David Osborne is 6th in the conference. For the Whitehall Vikings, Scott Corliss is in 9th place in field goal percentage in the league. He's also scoring a 17.7 rate in the conference, good for 2nd place behind Mark Jacobs of Ravenna. And the other Viking, Chip Williams, is in 4th place in the conference in assists with 96. And that all comes out to help Montague to a 18-1 record coming into tonight's conference game, 13-0 in the conference, and and Whitehall, 12-7 and 9-4 respectively. Again, the thing that a lot of people don't realize is Montague's averaging 82.3 points a game and only giving up 63.9, which comes out to about an 18.4 difference between themselves and their opponents, whereas the Vikings are giving up fewer points, but they're also scoring fewer points. They're giving up 60, but only getting 68.3 themselves for a point spread of 8.3.
Something worth noting, this past week, Montague was ranked finally in the state ranking. Not really important, but it's kind of nice to be recognized. We're tied for 14th, I believe, in the AP polls.
Well, you get this far in the season, have the record you have, it's kind of hard to ignore you anymore. So, yeah, it's nice. And the thing about it is now we'll start finding out just how good we are.
Yeah.
And,
well, some people are still ignoring them because there are teams with 3 and 4 losses, and they may be playing bigger schools, but they're ranked ahead of Montague, and Montague is quite a ways down there in the ranking, but it is nice to be recognized.
Oh, sure. It's anytime you're recognized in anything that you do, it's certainly nice to have that recognition. Well, Louis, they've got the 8 minutes on there. They've got it rolled out to 3 quarters. And we're about ready to start here as Montague gets the ball out of bounds, start the 3rd quarter. Referee doing a little house cleaning job here. It's one of the problems with confetti, although I must say that both crowds have been exceptional tonight. Well behaved. We haven't seen anything thrown on the court, and that's a real credit to both those towns.
Osborne starts out scoring early for the Cats.
Well, I guess it's only right. Richard got us starting with a basket to begin the game, and he just got another assist there to start the second half. So he's the spark plug, and he's making things happen again.
Mike Kirshen for the Vikes.
You know, the Vikings back out in the press. A little diamond in one press.
Across to Jimmy Grieve. He puts it up. Doesn't drop. Kirshen with the rebound. Sheasley drives to the basket. Doesn't go.
Nice rebound by Jim Grieve. The Vikings now in a 1-3-1 zone. Trying to find something that'll work. Nice fadeaway by Jim Grieve. Got that ball, put it back and up and in.
Well, you know, at this point, Vikings coach Kim Griffin's got to be feeling from some frustration when they're missing layups like that up in with an open lane.
Well, and that's caused by the defense. Nice basket by Chip Williams beyond the three-point range.
Montague up by 11, 44-33. 6 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Osborne puts it up. Another assist for Erdman.
Well, on that 1-3-1, your soft spots, or the spots that you should go to, are in the corners. Because they've got a man in the middle and they got 2 men up high on the wings. And that along the baseline should be wide open all the time. Should be able to just keep on shooting with the shooters that we have down there and knocking it down. Nice steal by Richard Erdman.
Oh, it passes across to Lindquist, kind of behind Randy. Randy recovers, gets the ball.
Well, it was probably better that happened than anything else because
force him to slow it down, yeah.
It was a forced play as it was. There's that soft spot again along the baseline. I'm sure that Coach Griffin's going to come out of that pretty quick because can't afford to stay in there very long.
Scott, nice hoop there by Scott Corliss.
Scott Corliss showing you the kind of ball player he is. Excellent ball player, just excellent.
Lindquist off the glass, doesn't go. Sheasley inside to Corliss. This time he doesn't score. Erdman gets the loose ball. He's looking for someone to pass to. Over to Lindquist. Oh. And Randy passes it back inside to Chip Williams.
Well, that's the unselfishness again. And again, as you said, I'm sure Coach Kim Griffin is...
You can see he's frustrated.
Well, those are some easy baskets you've got to get to go down.
Little short there, Randy with the Lindquist. Randy Lindquist with the rebound, he's fouled.
Nice power rebound by Randy Lindquist and took it back up and got hammered. He'll go now to shoot 2.
Montague brings in their reserves.
And Randy has a chance to move it to a 15-point lead if he can knock both these down. Jeremy Moog into the Vikings lineup, along with a whole host of Wildcats.
Lindquist drops his second. Montague up on top, 49-35, 3.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Chip Williams from the free throw line doesn't drop. Moog tries putting it up. It doesn't go.
Well, the Vikings are getting more and more shots at the basket on second chances. They just aren't able to get them to go down.
Chip Williams puts a good move, can't make it.
That's what Randy Lindquist will do for you. He's just intimidating you. Even if he doesn't get a piece of the ball, just being there, he makes you change what you're going to do.
Van Bergen tries it from three-point range. It's short. So Randy with a foul, he'll sit down for a few minutes.
Well, looked like Randy maybe went up over the top of somebody. I didn't really see it that well, but was not a call that the fans really liked.
Mitch Foster drives it all the way in for the Vikings, and he scores.
That was a nice play.
Babcock puts it up, he scores.
Well, time and again, the Wildcats have made the Vikings pay for their press, but that's what the Vikings have to do. That's not a criticism. I think that the Vikings have to press. They have to do something to make things happen for them.
Tom Sheasley from about 18 out, he doesn't score. Montague up on top, minute 40 left in the third quarter, 51-37. J.J. Flynn puts it up, no go. Tom Sheasley should have an easy 2 here. And,
well, Tom Sheasley just trying too hard there. That's unfortunate.
And all Coach Griffin can do is shake his head. Scott Thumser with his second offensive foul, and I have to disagree with the ref there. I would say Foster was not planted at all. Mike Kirshen with a shot there. Doesn't drop. Less than a minute left in the third quarter. Montague up on top, 51-37. Thumbs are up on top from the foul line. Bounces around for a minute there. And
that was a nice soft touch. A lot of times you're going to get that when you've got that type of touch. Ball just kind of hung right there and fell through.
Good pressure there by the Cats. Scott Thumbs are open again. He puts it up. This time it's a little wide. And I think they're going to call Schloff over the back there.
Yeah, that's... Ball went up. He got his hand on the ball, but he got a lot of back on that one. So the Vikings will get the ball out of bounds.
Chip Williams comes back in. And Tom Sheasley sits down. As the Scott Corliss coming back in, Mitch Foster will sit down. And so Whitehall have a chance for one last shot. Osborne intercepts inside to Scott Thumser. He's fouled as he puts it up. He'll go to the line.
Well, that's a key, and if Scott can get these two, you know, it puts Montague up by 18. Right now, again, the score reading 53-37.
Scott Thumser at the charity stripe shooting two. His first is up. It's good. His second's up. It's also good.
Those are two key points right there because...
Oh. Now, that shouldn't be allowed to happen there. A little sloppiness on the Cats' part.
Well, and that hurts, and Coach Tate is quite upset about that. You know, you just made the key steal. You worked real hard down here, and you got the 2 points that you probably shouldn't have got, and turn around and just give them back. With 3 clicks on the clock, just shouldn't happen in the ballgame. Well, Louis, I think what you're going to see is that Whitehall is going to try to turn it up a notch. And I'm sure they're going to try just about everything they can to pull this thing off. They're down by 16 going in the final 8 minutes.
Well, if you remember the first time these two got together, Montague led all the way through the ball game, and right at the end, Whitehall made a run for it and put a lot of pressure on Montague.
Well, you got some class kids out there on both sides, and that's what shows through, and that's what showed through the first time. That's why I say I expect Whitehall to come out here and just give Montague everything they want here in this last quarter and make a game of it.
Now, do you suppose Coach Tate is telling Montague to work on the clock at this point?
Well, it comes down to possessions of the ball. You know, Whitehall has to have so many possessions, and Montague knows that.
Well, Scott Thumser fouled again. As he goes up, he'll go back to the line to shoot 2 more.
The thing that you have to be cautious about, though, is you don't want to go into a stall. You want to run the things you've been running. You want to take advantage, and if you get a good break like we just did there, you take it to the hole right away. Later on in the game, less than 2 minutes, then maybe you want to pull it out, slow it down, and make them come out.
And Scott's first free throw a little off. He'll step back, think about it a minute.
I don't want to jinx anybody, but it seems to me the first time when Montague and Whitehall met down the stretch, the Wildcats had a lot of trouble putting the ball in the hole from the free throw line, and I'm sure the Vikings have remembered that. And hopefully the Wildcats have got that straightened around.
Wow. Nice effort there by Osborne.
How he got that, I'll never know. But,
No.
You know, that's the strength of David Osborne, and that's the work ethic that he has. He never quits.
Putting it up where a lot of players would try to get it back out up top.
There's that pressure. just caused an unforced turnover. Threw the ball where nobody was. Montague looking to push their lead now to 20.
Side to Erdman. Tries dishing off to Chris Morrissey. And
nice idea, but Chris was backing out, and the ball just never had enough oomph to get to him.
We get a foul call there before Mitch Foster puts the shot up.
I think with the intensity of the game that I'd like to say just how well I think the officiating has been. There's been some calls that, you know, might have questioned, but that's awful easy up here to see things. They're right on top of things, and they've been on top of things all night long, I think. Never let anything get out of hand. So I'd have to say congratulations to officials at this point on a job well done.
Foster drives to the hoop, puts it in.
Nice hustle by Mitch Foster as he took that ball right to the hoop.
Chris Morrissey can't hang on. He ends up traveling. And Whitehall will take over. Andy Green to inbound for the Vikes.
Well, it was a case where Chris didn't have good position, and the ball was passed to him, and it got away. And then he stole it back, and then Foster stole it back, tied him up, and there was a traveling call.
Mitch Foster puts it up a little short there.
Paul Shannon grabbed that rebound, and Chris Morrissey got a little bit of the arm as he went back up.
2 minutes have been played. Montague's up on top by 16. Paul Shannon at the line for the Vikes. Cuts that down to 15, trying to make it 14 now. Paul Shannon puts his second shot up. It's short. Brad Van Bergen with the read. Foul on Paul Shannon.
No, Louis, we've talked about this before, but if people only realize the value of having that bench and being able to rest those players and just keep on coming in and in and in, and everybody's fresh all the time. You play hard for 3 minutes, you set out for 2. You play hard for another 3 minutes, you set out for another 1. You come back in, you play hard for 4. I'll tell you, everybody wants to play all the time, but there's it's really a positive thing to see everybody, so fresh at the end of the ball game.
Right. We say how the key to Montague in this game here so far has been their ability to stick with them on defense. Well, that goes right back to it because they wouldn't be able to hustle so well if they didn't have the bench to allow their starters to rest.
That's right.
As Chip Williams attempts his shot, it's not good. Mike Kirshen drives the lane.
That was a nice drive by Mike Kirshen. Yeah, Randy came out on him, put his hands up, and Mike drove right around him, went right to the ball, right to the basket.
Randy Lindquist turns around, puts it up, doesn't drop.
Well, and the Vikings are going to cut it here, or at least attempt to cut it here, to 15 or 13.
And Paul Shannon doesn't score there. And the Cats call a timeout with 4:42 left in the game. Montague up on top, 59-44.
Well, this is the spot that Coach Jim Tate certainly wanted to find himself in with 4 minutes to go in the ball game. Be up by 15 and have the ball. Now I suspect that they'll talk about what we talked about earlier, possessions. You know, how many possessions do the Vikings need? You know, and just keep them away from the ball, work your offense, be patient. When the opportunity presents itself, take the ball to the hole. But don't rush it. We're not in a rush. We've got enough points to win, and that's the name of the ball game.
Well, we've got the chance here. I'd like to thank Cass Cable for allowing us to broadcast tonight's game.
Well, this
for allowing us all season to broadcast our games.
Yes, it's just been super all season to be able to do this. I think it's fantastic for these young men on both sides of the river to have this opportunity to be on TV, for the communities to watch them. It's just really great. And we've also done it for the girls volleyball team, and I think there's going to be some of this done again this spring for the baseball, softball teams, track meets, and so on. What more can you say about David Osborne? Just a super ball player, just playing, you know, in one of the real big games tonight and doing everything you have to do to win.
Sheasley for the Vikes. He puts it up, and it drops.
If you look how the Cats break that press.
That's Brad Van Bergen for the Cats.
But the Cats are very patient. They pass it in, draw the defense over, and then they just pass it the other way.
And that's Mike Kirshen for the Vikes.
And a nice pass from Tom Sheasley.
At this point, the Vikings cannot allow the Cats to be trading baskets with him. They've got to stop Montague right now. Oh! Randy Lindquist.
No, I think that was Brad
that?
Van Bergen
Oh,
inside. David Osborne saw him slip along the baseline, and he got that basket.
Jump ball, possession goes to Montague.
And David Osborne on the bottom of the pile. Jim Grieve had a lot to do that as he came up from behind and knocked the ball away.
Less than 3 minutes in the game. Montague up on top, 65-48. Osborne puts it up. Beautiful little rainbow shot there.
Well, David's taken what they've given him tonight, and they've made the Vikings pay for it. Here's the passes.
Scott with the foul there, but once again a foul that was almost necessary, or else they would have scored.
Well, they call that an intentional, and they're going to give him 2 shots and the ball out of bounds. At this stage, probably could have let him have it, but again, going back to what we talked about before, that's just how hard the Cats work, and they're not going to give you any easy ones. And there was a steal on that, and Scott just hustled back and tried to get the basket away from Scott Corliss. Didn't, and the Vikings get 2 and get the ball back. And that makes the score 67-50.
And we've got just over 2 minutes left to play. Scott Corliss passes off to Chip Williams from three-point range. It doesn't go. I think at this point it's safe to assume Montague will finish up the regular season 19-1.
And with that 19-1 record, they break their all-time season, regular season record with that 19th win. It's a great thing for this team. I've said it all along. I think this is the best Montague team I've seen. They do so many things so well. They play so well together. Just very impressive. And Coach Jim Tate bringing in 5 new players as he clears the bench, giving a lot of new players opportunity to play.
I don't think Montague has a real, well, we do have our standout players, but I think as a team overall they are better than any team we've probably had in a long time. Certainly as far as I can remember, but I mean, I remember players like Tracy Keel, players like that, but I think it takes a whole team. It doesn't take one player. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh wow. That's got to be one of the prettiest shots you're going to see in this entire ball game.
Well, and there's a nice feed by Paul Schlaff too.
Jimmy Grieve there.
Nice soft touch by Scott Corliss. Paul Schlaff will go to the line and shoot 1-1 with the Cats leading 69-54. Well, Louis, after tonight we start a whole new ball season. It's great to be 19-1, but now we're all 0-0 again.
J.J. Flynn getting into the act there. Andy Green puts it up for the Vikes. Tom Cedarquist attempts his shot. Jimmy Grieve for the Cats.
And that puts it out to 19 points, 73-54.
We've got about 30 seconds left to play in this ball game. Joe Burmeister. Scott Corliss at the line for the Vikes. He drops his first.
Getting back to what you said, we don't probably have one player that, if you didn't follow this team, that really stood out.
Right.
But throughout the course of the year, we've had our players that have really done some super things, and we build things around. But yeah, we don't have that big horse that does everything. You're right.
J.J. Flynn there.
And that's the beauty of this team.
Well, yeah, that's what makes them such a great team. Is it's the team that's good, not a player. And so the clock ticks down to 0. Montague wins their 19th game, 75-57, 73-57. They end up the regular season 19-1, an overwhelming successful year.
Well, a great season for a group of great guys, and a nice way to cap off their season at the end. But again, let's be mindful of the excellent year that the Vikings have had. They put together a very respectable year, and they certainly don't have to be sorry for what they did. You know, they'll be back next year. They've got some excellent ball players coming up.
Okay, with us we have Whitehall coach Kim Griffin. Coach, kind of a little disappointing. I personally had thought it was going to be a lot closer, and I actually looked for Whitehall to win this one because I thought they'd be hungrier, and it was a close game last time we got together.
Well, you're looking at one of the better teams in the state in Montague. To expect us to win the ball game after a number of the games that we've lost recently, you're quite an optimist as far as I'm concerned. When you come to somebody's home court and they're already 18-1 before we play them, and they've only been beat by Grant, you'd have to say that we were the underdog coming in. But I have to give them credit. They came out and they played aggressive from the beginning, and we tried to pack it in, and they just shot over us. I think the percentages were like 57% from the floor for them and 30-some for us. So it would have been closer if we would have made some free throws or made some layups. We missed at least half a dozen tonight.
You look a little frustrated on some of those that were missed.
We were frustrated, there's no doubt. But I'll tell you what, there's a few other teams that are frustrated playing Montague because they can do so many things to you.
All in all, Kim, though, you've had a good year. When I saw you early in the year, I thought you'd probably be in the middle of the pack. You had some good kids. They play real hard all the time. But I thought, Ravenna was going to be real tough. I thought Shelby was going to be tough, and I picked you about fourth. And I think it's a real credit to you and to the kids. They just played their hearts out all year long. And again tonight, I mean, they were at times 15, 18 points down, but they just never quit.
We give good effort. There's no question about it. Some of the things that have happened to us is our shooting percentage has been low, like tonight. And anytime you shoot in the 30 percentile, the team has a chance to beat you. We're not real big, so we can't just physically dominate teams inside. You take Montague, for instance, and they can physically dominate you inside. They've got the height and the physical strength to do it. We can't do that. So really what happened for us was we got on a roll early this year, won 9 games in a row, and basically at times I thought we were doing it with mirrors, but it's a credit to the kids. They work hard and they don't give up.
One of the neat things about when Montague and Whitehall gets together is that really it quite often is anybody's game. You can look at the past records, but when these two teams get together, it just seems like it's always a lot closer than their past records will show.
Well, it's a great rivalry. I don't think you'll find another rivalry that matches this one unless you're talking about maybe Heights and Muskegon or something like that. It's the closeness that does it, and a lot of these kids know each other and they're friends, and that just makes it that much more special. I like this rivalry. I think it's good for both schools and all their sports.
One of the things that I've noticed, talking about that, being good friends and yet being a really unique rivalry, intense, is after the first game, Saturday morning, the kids were over here together refereeing the young kids in the Saturday morning program, and they were working together, and that's just a neat thing to see, where you can come out on Friday night and go after each other with everything you got, and then on Saturday morning you go back and you shake hands and you go out and work together.
Well, I think it also helps the two administrations are relatively close. The parents are, generally know each other, and I've got to give these kids credit because I know the Montague kids and I like all of them. I know the Whitehall kids and I like them, and I just, it just makes it that much easier.
Well, I said this all year long that we can be real proud here in the White Lake area to have two great groups of kids and two excellent basketball teams. They just give you everything they got every night when they come out on the court. One last question. You start all over tomorrow, 0-0. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, anything can happen in tournament time. We've seen it year in and year out where at district tournaments, the best team doesn't always come out. And that's because certain strange things happen during tournament time. And so, we tried some things tonight just to see if how Montague reacted to it, and they pretty much tore everything apart. And so now we can go back and put it on the drawing board and get ready to play Hart. And if we beat Hart, we're going to go at it one more time. And we'll give it our all one more time. And if we can turn the shooting percentages around, then anything can happen.
That's right.
Well, Kim, we certainly wish you the best of luck in the tournaments, and you and your team has had an excellent season as far as I'm concerned, and you're both to be complimented on that, and as I said, good luck in the
I
tournaments.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, Kim.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, that's Kim Griffin, the coach at Whitehall, and you know, there's a young man that knows his basketball. He does an excellent job of coaching. He's been there to the big one before. They won the state championship at Shelby when he was there, and so you know, it's really nice to have him here in the White Lake area coaching, and I know that it's really appreciated by the people in Whitehall to have such an excellent coach.
Yeah, I'd have to second that. Well, if we can get Coach Tate over here. Coach, congratulations. First of all, on an excellent season and also on an excellent ball game tonight.
Thank you.
And we said time and time again, we've said all through the season, the key to this ball club here is the strong bench you have. You know, you showed a lot of faith in your second stringers. You put them in early in the first quarter, and I think that's really, you know, a credit to the team.
Oh, thanks. The one thing that I've learned over the years, I can remember playing too, is in big games, it seems like you hit the wall at about 3 minutes in a game. You got no wind left, your legs feel heavy, and you wonder, oh no, what kind of a night's this going to be? And you need to get the subs in for a couple of minutes there, let the starters get their legs back, plus you need to get the subs in the game and get sweating and get acclimated to playing in a big game because they get more nervous the longer they sit there. And if you can get them in and everybody's so jacked up about playing that you know there's not going to be any letdown defensively, and that's the only thing I ever worry about substituting anyway. And frankly, with this team, I don't worry about substituting because we got good players coming off the bench. They know what they're supposed to do, and they really play hard.
Well, I guess that's the point I was going to make. It's almost like you don't have a second team. It's like you got like 10 or 12 first-string players. So you just keep on plugging them in there one at a time or three at a time or whatever it is, and they just keep on performing well for you.
Yeah, there's a little clip on at the beginning of this telecast where I voice over some comments about the kids, and there's so many of them that I felt like saying could start for just about anybody else in the league. But it's true. We've got, really, if you want to look at it, we had about 8 starters. And Scott Thumser started most of the year last year, has done a great job coming in. There's nobody in the league that wouldn't like to have him starting for him. Brad Van Bergen has been tremendous for us the whole year. He's as good a guard as there is in the league. And, you know, when you got that quality depth, the only thing that I try and do is get those players in the game and let them play. And they do a great job. They play together. And the one thing we've been emphasizing all year is play the way we practice. And we had great practices the last 2 weeks, and I just knew we were going to play well.
Well, that looked like the key to tonight's game with the defense was so hot. And they really put a lot of pressure on the Vikings. And it appeared as if it was just because that they get a chance to rest, and so they never let up on them.
Right, when you play end-to-end defense like we do, you've got to give those players a chance to get their wind back, or they're going to be caught behind. They're going to get cheap fouls. They're going to reach. They get they have a lot of problems playing defense, and I substitute for defense. I try not to take players out because they're missing shots, or we're behind and we got to have 15 points or anything. And as long as we sub for defense and we got people covering the right positions.
Not to take anything away from the offense either, though. They look good tonight also.
Oh yeah, they
real well.
The offense, I've felt since game one was going to kind of take care of itself, and it has. But defensively, if we can get them to play together and play hard the way they have, I knew we were going to have a good season, and they haven't let me down at all.
Well, I was pretty certain myself that they weren't going to let you down. The group of kids that they are, to say that they were 19-1, I guess I would have never guessed that, and that's just fantastic that you could do that. But tomorrow, you start over, as I said, Coach Griffin, you start over 0-0.
Yeah, the kids know at this point in the season, we've been talking about, since we won the league a little bit early this year, we've been talking about preparing ourselves mentally for that. And you know that if you have a bad performance, you can be taken out of the tournament. But our kids are determined that whoever beats us in the tournament is going to be a fine team that's going to have a great night, because we're not going down to somebody that we don't think is the quality that we are. And as long as they have that attitude and play that way, then I think we're going to be awful tough in the tournament.
Well, they certainly have played that way every night this year, and I could go back to midseason after our loss to Grant, our only loss, and I really thought somewhere along the line we were going to have a letdown. Not a discredit to the kids, just a normal type thing that happens, and it just never has happened. In fact, what I've seen, we've just got better.
Yeah, I think one thing that I've never had this many players that can play, but I think when you've got 8 or 9 kids that know they're going to play every game, you just don't have the kind of letdowns you do when you're dependent on 2 or 3 big scores or 5 starters, because if somebody's not into it really that night or not having a good night or they get in early foul trouble, you got somebody else that's going to come in the game and they look at it like this is my opportunity to get some more playing time, and it just kind of picks everybody up. So the intensity in practice has been unbelievable lately. The thing I'm most worried about is somebody getting hurt, because they play just that hard in practice too.
What was the reaction among the team for the state ranking that you finally got in the AP polls? I want to say UPI.
This is funny. All year they talked about not getting any respect, and then we get ranked, and not one player said one thing to me. Nobody said a word. I don't know if they cut the clipping out and buried it in the scrapbook or what they did, but nobody said a word.
Well, at home, Scott always said that it wasn't that important to him because they just didn't want that, also in the back of their minds, and it was just one more thing to worry about.
It's important to me from the perspective that when these kids are all through and the tournament's over, I want them to have a lot of good memories, and it would be nice for them to say, we were 19-1. We were conference champions, and at one time in my life we were rated in the top 15 in the state. At the end of the year is when it was most important to me. I never worried about it before, but it would have been absolutely criminal if they'd have gone the whole season and not been rated, because this is as deserving a team as we've had in this area in a long time to be rated.
Absolutely.
Well, with that, Coach Tate, as you move along in tournament time, good luck. I'm going to be there the 26th of March. Now, that's not putting any pressure on you, but I'd certainly like to see you there on the ground floor with a bunch of young men sitting next to you, dressed, ready to play.
Yep, the Lord could take me body and soul if that happens. I'll tell you, my one dream coaching, playing has always been to get to Chrysler Arena. I don't care if it's the semifinals, the finals, the World Championships, or whatever it would be. I just want these kids to have a good feeling about the year they put in. I want somebody decent to take us out, if they take us out at all, and I want to go as far as we possibly can, and that's exactly what they want to do, and we're just going to get back at it tomorrow and start working toward that.
Well, all right. Well, congratulations, Coach.
Thanks, Lou.
One last thing. It couldn't happen to a finer gentleman if you get there, nor to a much more deserving team. So good luck on the way to Chrysler.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay. Hope to see you there.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
And with that, this is Jeff Peterson.
And I'm Louis Thumser. Thanks for joining us tonight.
And we'll see you at tournament time.